Okay, it's Easter and we're getting ready to fix dinner for the people I live with and hopefully get a video done so I can share this recipe with you. I know traditionally a lot of times on Easter, people like to do hams, but nobody here except me eats ham. So today I'm going to do a turkey tenderloin for some people, and for myself mostly, I'm going to do a smoked pork tenderloin. And we're going to start that with a rub. So I'm going to switch over cameras here. And when we start the rub, I start with about 2 cups of brown sugar. And then to that, I want to add about 2 tablespoons of kosher salt. Put that in there. I'm going to add about a tablespoon, and you can adjust this to your liking, a tablespoon or 2 of fresh ground black pepper. I'm going to put if I can get this open, tablespoon or so of onion powder in there. And then we're going to add about a tablespoon or thereabouts. I'm going to try and get some of this loose, but I'm going to have to do the best I can with the shaker. But I'm adding about a tablespoon of ground mustard. And then I'm going to add about a tablespoon of ground cumin. And what I like to stick in mine too is, get this open, a tablespoon or 2 of smoked paprika. Which will give this a nice smoky flavor in addition to the smoking that we're going to do on the grill. And then I want to add some crushed red pepper flakes. Depending on your taste for spice, you can adjust this accordingly. You could also add chili powder to this, that kind of thing. And then we're going to just mix this up best we can here. These are nice, these rubs that you make, because I'll have extra. If you put this in an airtight container and seal it, it'll keep for a long time as long as you keep it in a cool, dry place. Right now we're outside and this brown sugar is pretty warm. Of course, when I brought it out here and set everything up, left it sitting out there. So we got that all mixed up. So again, we had brown sugar, kosher salt, fresh ground black pepper, powdered onion, ground powdered mustard, ground cumin, smoked paprika, and crushed red pepper flakes. So that's that. And then I'm going to grab my tenderloin and go ahead and put the rub on. Okay, so we got our rub put together. Now we've got our pork tenderloin. I bought a pre-packaged one, so there's not a lot of trimming to do. But I am going to take a look at it to see if there's any silver skin on it or any excess fat that I want to trim off of there. And this one looks pretty good. I don't like too much fat on there. I want to get as much of that off I can. If I sacrifice a little bit of the meat in the doing, then that's just the way it goes. Looks like a little bit of silver skin there too. So I'm gonna get that off of there. And good knives are pretty important for this. The rest of this looks, well, no. I want to get rid of some of this. Got a little fat on there. I mean, it's going to add some flavor. Problem is, depending on how you're cooking it, especially if you're cooking it over coals, if you're grilling it, or even over a propane grill, that once the fat starts dripping, we get a little silver skin there we want to get rid of. Once the fat starts dripping off of it, it's going to flame up and maybe make your cooking a little bit more difficult. And we get a little bit more right here I want to get rid of. So that looks pretty good. A little bit more here. A little bit of fat's not going to hurt us. Fat means flavor. A little bit down here I want to get rid of. And I might say we're about ready. So this is still pretty moist from the packaging. So what I want to do here, if you take it out of the package and you dry it off, add a little avocado oil to it, but I think this is going to be all right the way it is. So basically, I'm just going to take my rub that I made, sprinkle that on there pretty generously. You don't really have to rub it in, but you want to make sure everything's got a coating of it. I'm making a little bit of a mess, but I'll clean that up as I go here. I need a bigger cutting board, which I've ordered, and I will put a link to that up for you guys. I'm in the process of having custom-made cutting boards produced so that you can order them custom-made, or you can order the Cooking with Friends cutting board, which hopefully we'll have here pretty soon for our videos. So we get that covered, get this turned over. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Pretty good covering. You want to rub it in, pat it in. Make sure you get the sides. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our rubbed pork tenderloin and we're going to wrap this up in cellophane. And we'll let this sit in the fridge, let's say at least a couple hours. Mine's probably going to be closer to 3 because we end up eating late here, and on the smoker, this won't take that long to cook, maybe an hour, hour and a half. Got that. It's looking pretty good. Wipe my hands off here, see if you can see that. Out here in the bright sun, so I can't really see on my monitor what you're seeing. And again, anybody that lives near Mebane that's interested in working with me for videos, I would appreciate it. Or if you're going to be traveling this way and you want to lend a hand, that would be good too. Okay, so we got the tenderloin rubbed, and the turkey tenderloin, it's not going to get that much treatment, and we'll cover that when we come back. But I'm going to take this nice, beautifully rubbed pork tenderloin here. I'm going to wrap that up, and I'm going to stick it in the fridge. And then I'm going to cut the grass while it's waiting to be cooked. We'll see you back here in a little bit. Okay, we are back from cutting the grass, and we have our tenderloin, our pork tenderloin, that's been sitting with the rub on it in the fridge for the last few hours. Right now on 2 pans on the grill, I'm melting 4 tablespoons of butter, and I've diced up some bacon, and I've put that in a pan to try and crisp up too. So we're going to get to our beautiful tenderloin in just a minute. There's a couple things we got to do here. And I should say that I forgot for the rub, I wanted to add some garlic powder, but no recipe is ruined. We can fix that. So there's our pork tenderloin, beautifully rubbed. And I'm going to show you how we can fix that in just a second. Okay, like I said, not everybody eats pork here, so we're going to do a couple turkey tenderloins, and they're nice pieces of meat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my mixture that I always keep ready here. It's just garlic salt, kosher salt. I mean, not garlic salt, garlic powder, kosher salt, fresh ground pepper, and we're going to season our turkey tenderloin with it. Okay, and we're going to turn it over and catch the other side. In a pan on the grill right now, I have 4 tablespoons of butter, unsalted, and the equal amount of olive oil melting down. The olive oil so that the butter won't burn. So once that's all ready, just going to add it to that pan of melted. Before I do that, I want to add a little bit of onion powder to both sides. I should have done the other side first with all these, but I'll do this side with everything. So a few pinches of onion powder, and then I like to use, and this keeps really well, some dried thyme I'm going to put on here. So I'll sprinkle some thyme on here. While we're doing this, I've started a charcoal fire and got some good smoke going. I'm using applewood chips, and I'll show you that in just a minute. So we get some thyme on there, and then we're going to add a little bit of rosemary on top of that. This will perfume it really nice. And when we go to start draining that paste over the top of it, it'll pick up all these herbs and coat it really good. So this, then I'm going to flip over, do the same thing on the other side. Let me grab a paper towel. Okay, so we already kosher salt, garlic powder, and fresh ground pepper. So we're going to add some onion powder. Again, this will all run off into the pan while it's cooking, and then we're going to take a spoon and baste it as it's cooking. And then we've got some thyme. That smells so nice. These are pretty thick pieces, so go ahead and spice it up or herb it up. And then we have some rosemary that we're going to add. Again, these herbs will melt down into the pan and get in with that butter and olive oil mixture, and we'll use it to baste it. Now we're going to take this, we're going to put it in that pan of melted olive oil and butter. Okay, so we have our pan of melted butter, olive oil here on the grill, and we're going to add our turkey tenderloins, presentation side down. You want to hear that sizzling. I don't know if you can hear it. That's what I got going on here. And in the other pan, we got some bacon crisping up, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. Once our bacon is crisped up a little bit, we'll pull off the grill here, and we're going to add about a teaspoon of minced garlic there. Mix that up. Sam says, and mix. Good. And then what we're going to do, and this pan's still hot, which is what we want while we're doing this. Grease from the bacon there. And we've got our minced garlic, and now we're going to add. Oh, this is going to be so good, I can tell. We're going to add our asparagus, and we're going to mix this in. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to add just a little bit of avocado oil and sort of coat these. We're going to mix that all up. Let me get my favorite little mixer here. Okay, we're going to get the bacon on it. I get the stuff off the bottom. If you have to get a spoon and grab it, put it on there, but you want to coat all these little asparagus spears here. Oops, we lost one. Trying to escape. Get those all coated. Get the bacon working. Get that on top. And then we're going to add just a little pinch of our kosher salt, ground black pepper, and garlic powder to the top of it. And then this is going to go in the oven. Well, actually, no, I'm going to do this on the grill right next to the turkey tenderloins, but I'm going to do it on the heat side. Okay, so hold on one second. So this stuff I'm doing over the propane grill. I got the garlic with all our mixings on one side, and I've got the turkey tenderloins. It's hard to see. I have poor light and poor equipment, but these are both on low, and I'm going to close this lid, and then I'm going to come back here in a few minutes. I'm going to start basting those turkey tenderloins and mixing up that asparagus. But for right now, I'm going to close the lid, and then I'm going to turn my attention to our smoking pork roast, or pork tenderloin. Okay, our asparagus and turkey tenderloins are in the propane grill roasting under low heat, and we're going to turn our attention to that pork tenderloin next that we prepared that rub for. And now we're going to take a look at a couple of things with that. Okay, so I took our pork tenderloin out of the refrigerator, and the turkey tenderloin too. We want to bring those up to close to room temperature. You don't want to cook them frozen or real cold because they won't cook as well. But then I've taken that rub that we made and we put it on that pork tenderloin, and now I've wrapped it in bacon. I took about 3/4 slices of bacon and wrapped it, and I used the other quarter slice from each of these slices to chop up for the asparagus. But I like to leave these little gaps in between because we're going to mix up a little marinade sauce or a little sauce to baste this with as it's cooking. And what we have is, I want to set my smoker to, let's see if I can get it. It looks like you've got some good smoke going now. I want to get that at about 225. Okay, about 225. And I want to, it's important if you don't have one, you want to get yourself a good thermometer. Digital's ideal. I don't have one yet, but I'm going to use the old school one. But you want to get this tenderloin to about 142, 140, because it's going to rest a minute and it's going to keep cooking. We want the internal temperature to be about 145. So we're going to put this on the smoker, and we're just going to let it work. It's going to take probably about an hour, and we're going to check the temperature after 30 minutes and then maybe 45 minutes. The trick is you want to leave the lid closed. You want to let that smoke work on this. About halfway through, we're going to baste it with a sauce we're going to make, or a basting concoction. And I'm going to show you that in just a second. All right, so we have the rub mix we made before. This is leftover. It's 2 or 3 tablespoons full. And when I made this, I was out in the bright sun and I had the brown sugar out early and it warms up, and this is clumped up on me again. So if it does that to you, that's okay. Just take a fork and smash it down and grind it up the best you can. Okay. And then for this, what we want to do is we're going to take some avocado oil. Oh, 2, 3, 4 tablespoons. And we're going to mix that in. And I want avocado oil because it is very high smoking temperature and it tends to burn. I can smell this from here already. I can smell the smoker going too. So, and then from that, remember I told you we forgot the garlic powder. So to this, for our purposes, I'm going to add a really good size teaspoon of minced garlic. We're going to mix that up. Then hold this to give us just a little bit of sweetness and give us some nice color on here, some carameling. I'm going to take some raw honey. I really need practice with this. I really need a cameraman. So any of you guys interested, let me know. So I'm going to take a, sorry about the neighbors can't seem to help themselves with their ATVs. I'm going to take a couple of heaping teaspoons full of this raw honey, mix that in there. And put that in there. And we're going to mix that all up. And then about halfway through our pork tenderloin that's smoking right now, we're going to start using this and basting it 3 or 4 times, and we'll get to that in just a minute. So far, nothing too complicated. We did our rub. We did our mixture of, for our baste, for our pork tenderloin. We did a pretty simple seasoning of some turkey tenderloins. We got some bacon going in with some asparagus. That's bacon's been diced up. We've added some kosher salt, crushed ground pepper, and garlic powder to that. And I'm going to check on that. Keep an eye on that. Remember, because it's on the grill, it's overheat, but it's on low. So I'm going to check that, and we'll come back in just a second. Okay, asparagus is doing good. It's softening up nice. We're going to pull those off shortly. I prefer just a little bit of a crunch to them, but people here like them a little bit softer, so we're going to let them go a little longer. But those are looking pretty good. And the turkey tenderloin ready to flip over here. We're going to do that. Oh, look at that. That was incredible. I don't know if the camera's picking it up. But then what you're going to do is you're going to just grab a hot net, a pot holder, and tilt it. We're going to take this nice buttery oil mixture that we've got going here and baste the top of this. And then we're going to close the lid again on that and let that cook. And we're probably going to run out of daylight again, but I'm going to move this along. We're going to take a look at the smoked pork tenderloin, and we're going to start our basting now. It's been in there for, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. It's a little early, but that's okay. We're going to start the basting, and it'll probably take the whole process about an hour in the smoker, but we have some really good, let me see if I can capture this for you. And remember, I'm using applewood chips for this on our side smoker, and we've got some pretty good smoke going. So I started a charcoal fire in the side smoker, and then when that simmered down a little bit, I started adding wood chips, which you want to soak. And I've been soaking these all day so they don't just flame up on you. You want to get some good smoke, and that wafts through the barrel. And you can control the temperature either by the door here, which I have a little cheap thing. It's just basically a wire rim hanger that I can adjust the door, whether it's open or close more, or on the top of the stack, you can open that to increase the temperature or close it to decrease the temperature. And with these, you want to monitor them. You want to keep it around 225 the whole time. You don't want to get it too hard. You don't want to dry this out. If you have a lot of money, and I will have links on the store for fancy electric smokers where you can set the temperature and you're good to go, you can do that. But for our purposes, and I've found that most people I talk to don't have a ton of money, but they still want to be able to do this. So you can get a pretty reasonable side smoker charcoal grill, and I'll post a link for that to take care of all this.
Oh, no.
Okay, the asparagus are sufficiently soft. They look nice. They got some color. So I pulled those off, and I'm going to stick them inside in the oven to stay warm. And now we're going to pay attention to our smoked tender. Oh, and I've also flipped the turkey tenderloins so I can baste the other side. And those are looking really good, and I'll show you those in a minute. But for now, we're going to turn our attention to basting our pork tenderloin.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to take a look at our smoker here, and we're
Mary, you too.
right around 225 where we want to be. And we'll take a look at our tenderloin there. It's looking great. We're going to go ahead and start our basting. Okay, turkey tenderloins are almost done. We're going to go over, we've already basted our smoked pork tenderloin. You can see the smoke. Oh, it's just wonderful. It was smokier a minute ago. I need to add some chips, but I think we're getting close now. So if we take a look at our temperature, again, you want to monitor this. You want to be about 225. Take a look at that. Oh, that's looking good. So starting to get some color. Got a little bit longer to go. I'm going to baste this again. And I'm going to close this lid up. And then I think in not too long from now, actually, I'm going to check the temperature on this now to see where we are. So hold on a second. Right. Turkey tenderloin is done. We're going to take a look at that, and we're going to taste it. So let's take a look at our turkey tenderloin. Got some color on there. Gonna give it a slice here. See how we're doing. Oh. See how moist and juicy this looks. It's hot. You can just see it's perfect there. So we're going to take a taste of this. Hot. It's just perfect. Rosemary and the thyme and the butter. It's so tender. It's so juicy. You gotta cook it like this. Okay, turkey tenderloins on. Asparagus is all done. I've made some stuffing, and honestly, I have a good recipe for stuffing, and I'll share it with you. But when you're spending so much time on the rest of the meal and you don't have a lot of time, stovetop works great. And one of the tricks for that is when it's all done and it's nice and soft, get yourself a jar of good turkey gravy and just mix a few tablespoons in with that and mix it up. and the stuffing is moist and it's tasty and it's great. So that's going with the asparagus, and it's going to go with the turkey tenderloin and with also with the pork tenderloin, which we're looking at now. So I've pulled that off of the grill or the smoker, whatever you want to call it. And it looks great. We got some color. That bacon is crisped up nice. And so before I cut this, I'm just going to take the last of our sauce that we made. I'm just going to spread that over there. Oh, it smells so good. I wish y'all could smell this. Oh, spread that on there, get it around. Then we're going to cut this and we're going to taste it. And then I'm going to go in and serve my people. Lisa, who I live with, has been my friend for years, and Mom. Those two don't like this kind of stuff, but that's why I did the turkey tenderloin. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut this, see what it looks like. Here. Cut here. Leave a little bacon on this. Bacon came unwrapped a little bit when I pulled it off the grill, but that happens. That's okay. Put it back on, put it back together. Oh, just look at that. Moist, tender. I don't know if you can see that. It's just perfect. Okay, we're gonna try a taste of this. Switch cameras here. So we got our smoked pork tenderloin with our rub that we made and the sauce that we made, bacon wrapped. It's just gonna be, oh, the smell is exquisite. I can smell the apple wood that we used for the smoking. Oh, like I could smell it all night. It's sweet from the brown sugar. It's got just a little tiny bit of zing from the crushed red pepper flakes. If you like spice, add some chili powder to that rub, or add some more pepper flakes. I gotta have one more piece of this. The smokiness from the applewood. I used applewood chips over the top of the charcoal bed that I put down. And keep that at 25. It took about an hour, maybe a little longer. We were about 143 when we pulled it off of the smoker. We let it sit for just a minute or two. We got to an internal temperature of about 145. And it is just, it's tender, it's moist, full of flavor. Stupid good food.